Hi, this is Brett with Piano Aha. In the last video we talked about Bach's Prelude in C major and how if you close one eye you can basically remember the entire left hand in a few minutes. In this video we want to talk about the few exceptions that we didn't talk about in the last video. And the way we want to do it is by using stories. You might remember as a child you maybe had an uncle or a big sister who would tell you stories, and these stories were maybe very entertaining and very engrossing. But the great thing about stories is that they're also very memorable. And we want to try to use that to remember the few details that we did not talk about in the last video. Let me show you what I mean. So we have the sheet music again here in front of us, the same version as from the last video where we can see where the various groups begin and end. We have the C group, the F group, the G group, and the C group. And what we want to do now is look at each group and add the couple of exceptions that we didn't talk about in the last video. We'll start with the C group. So we said in the last video that it's like a game of Catch Me If You Can. We remember at this point, oh, we forgot our backpack, we go back home. And then at this point, we march down an octave down the scale. Right. But there are a couple of exceptions in there. To be exact, there are 4 exceptions, and we want to deal with those now. So we'll just be starting in measure 5 here. These are where the exceptions come. So imagine it like this. We're not just going on a walk down an octave. Let's say we're going through the forest, through the Black Forest, through the Black Key Forest. We have 2 Black Key Forests, in fact, this one and this one. And we'll be taking a hike through these forests as we play our Catch Me If You Can game. So we start playing Catch Me If You Can, again, starting in measure 5. And at this point, the lower note has entered into this Black Key Forest here. Right? It's past the entrance to the forest. So the upper key thinks, ooh, that's my chance. Now he's in the forest where there are lots of trees and maybe I can catch him, so I'm going to pounce. So he jumps to exactly the place where this lower note was. But the lower note notices it and jumps twice as far away. And at this point, the upper note says, oh, come on, give me another chance. Give me another chance. You're too far away, I'll never catch you now. So let's start over again. In fact, I'll even take a step back and then we'll start playing again. And the upper note now thinks, now that we're trying again and he's giving me another chance, maybe I'll try a new strategy. Now that we're in the forest, I'll try going behind a tree. But he notices it has no effect as the lower note continues to march forward. But he thinks, I'll try it again, I'll go behind the tree. But again, it has no effect. So they go back to playing Catch Me If You Can in the normal way. But as soon as the lower note again enters a Black Key Forest, see, he's past the entrance to the forest here, the upper note thinks, okay, now or never, now's my chance, I'm going to pounce. So he pounces onto the note where the lower note was, the lower note notices it, again jumps twice as far away, and the upper note again thinks, oh, it's too far away. Can you give me another chance, please? I'll take a step backwards and we'll try again. But at this point, the upper note notices, I don't think I'm ever going to win, and says, I quit. So that was the first C group. Those were the 4 exceptions. And now I'll play it for you in a way that is a good way of practicing this group. And again, I'll just start at measure 5. And now I go into the forest. And now he's going behind a tree. Again behind a tree. Playing normally Catch If You Can. And then again pouncing in the forest. And then come on, give me another chance, but I quit. So now we can move on to the F group. And again here, we'll add a small story element. We talked about in the last video that we have this chord here, we play the outsides and then interlocking from below to above. But we had not incorporated these accidentals here, so that's what we want to do now. We can imagine now that these lower two notes here, being as they are on both sides of G, and knowing as they do that the next group is the G group, they start thinking, oh, I already want to go to the G group. Their mouth is watering because they just want to go to that G group. So after we start and play this outside, both of these lower notes here, they both move a half step toward the G. And then we do interlocking from below to above. So in other words, the F group is outside, move toward the G, and then interlocking from below to above. So that's already the entire F group. Now the G group, before in the last video we said was just same thing twice. And this time, we just imagined that the thumb is sort of lazy and doesn't want to have to jump all the way back between the groups. So it doesn't want to have to go all the way back here to this F here just to get down to the E. He says, well, I'll take a shortcut. And with that, we've learned the entire G group. And now the final C group, again, involves a short story segment with the thumb. So we're in a race. We only have to play the C 4 times, as we learned in the last video. But shortly before the finish line, that lazy thumb falls down, but then recovers in time to still win the race. So you see, we have a bit of a story for each one of these 4 groups. So now I'll play the entire piece through with all elements of the stories. So we have So you see, by using stories, we can remember the left hand to Bach's Prelude in C major rather quickly. But you might be asking yourself, why would I want to know the left hand to Bach's Prelude? Why would I want to be able to play it memorized? And to this I would say, because it's a cue for your memory. In the same way, if you've ever been sitting around maybe a campfire with people singing, maybe someone has a guitar, and it's time to sing the 3rd verse of the song, and no one remembers how it starts. Then there's suddenly silence among the group. And then someone sings the first word or two, and everyone else joins in. Your memory just needs a cue to tell it what comes after that. The same thing with the left hand. If you remember what happens in the left hand, the odds are good that you'll also remember what happens in the right hand. In any case, thanks for watching this video, and happy ahas.